call-in talk show. Dial 1-877-932-9766 and join the conversation here on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
This is the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio. Radio the way it should be heard. And now, Mr. Neely Fuller.
If you do not understand white supremacy, which is racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. Only confuse you. Only confuse you.
Good morning and welcome to TalkTainmentRadio.com. We go where you go on the world's greatest radio. You are now in touch with the compensatory concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. I am your co-host, Mr. Bobby, and this is radio the way it should be heard. You can listen and hear the live broadcast of the compensatory concept with Mr. Neely Fuller. All you have to do is go to YouTube and then type in the word Talktainment, then hit the space bar and type in the word radio. Scroll down to Talktainment number 2 live on YouTube, and you can also hear us live here at TalkTainmentRadio.com. Also, you can call at 1-877-932-9766. You can Gmail me at the numero 7, Mr. Bobby at Mr. Bobby, BOBBY, at gmail.com. And you can also hear a rebroadcast of today's program. All you have to do for that is go to facebook.com/Talktainment, and you can get to hear the program. Now, I have somebody on the line, and I haven't introduced Mr. Fuller yet, nor spoken about his book. Now, I don't really like to do that, to take a call first before I introduce Mr. Fuller, but I'm going to do this one more time. But I would ask that in the future programs, allow me to get through what I have to get through before you call. That way I can get all those preliminaries out of the way, and we can go from there. What line are we on, my brother? 3? Okay. Line 3, you are on with Mr. Fuller. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Mr. Bobby. Introduce Mr. Fuller before I...
No, we got you on now, so go ahead.
Okay, well, yes, sir. I have a statement, a counter statement, 2 yes or no questions, and a follow-up statement. Can I begin?
You can basically do maybe 2 of those things. That's a little bit too much. Go ahead.
Okay, yes, sir. Just my 2 yes or no questions. If a parent mistreats a child or guarantees that the child is not mistreated and gets constructive help, is the parent still supreme over the child?
Mr. Fuller? Mr. Fuller?
Hello, I'm not here. I'm not getting amplification.
Okay, you're not getting amplification. Okay, my brother, could you state your question again so Mr. Fuller can hear that?
Yes, sir. There are just 2 yes or no questions. If a parent mistreats a child or guarantees that the child is not mistreated and gets constructive help, is the parent still supreme over the child?
If the parent is not giving constructive help to the child, is the parent still supreme over the child?
Yes, sir.
Well, it depends on whether or not the parent is actually the parent. The word parent means that you have authority over the child. So that's for better or for worse. In other words, you're in a position of power. You can just forget the use of the term parent and just say, who has the authority over the child? Who can make the child do what the person who is making the child wants done? Whomever that is. That's the bottom line. And that
okay.
In other words, that's just a power position, like it relates to anybody. You can just throw out the word parent and child. You can just say people. Period. What person can make another person do what that person wants done? That's it. That's it. I mean, it's called power. Who has the power? Who has the power? By whatever description you want to use.
Yes, sir. Well, I want to ask, do the white supremacists have the ability to guarantee that no non-white person is mistreated and gets the most constructive help?
Oh, yes. That's why they're white supremacists. Supreme means power. When you say supreme, you're talking about power. Otherwise, without power, without supreme, they're one and the same. Supreme is power. Power is supreme.
Okay.
And so therefore, a white person who has power over a non-white person can treat that person correctly or incorrectly. Why? Because he or she has the power to do so.
But that would refute your definition of racism. Is if racism is defined as mistreatment based on color. If all white supremacists treated non-white people, gave them the most constructive help and did not mistreat them, they would still be powerful over them, have power over them, and white supremacy would not end.
Well, it wouldn't be white supremacy because the definition for white supremacy includes the element of mistreatment. So you're not only dominant, but you are dominant and you mistreat. Otherwise, it wouldn't be white supremacy. It'd just be a white person who is, you might say, given supervision. And the person just happens to be white. It could be anybody, a person without a color at all. If it's a person or a spirit that is helping a person to do something constructive, then that's what you want anyway. You don't care, if you're on a job, you shouldn't care about who the boss is if the boss is not mistreating anybody. I mean, that's the only way that would become a point of discussion. If somebody's not getting the help that they need, or if somebody's being mistreated, then it becomes an issue. The whole purpose of the system of white supremacy is to dominate and mistreat. The two go together. And that's why it should be replaced with a better system called a system of justice. A system of justice would be to guarantee that what? No person is mistreated, and every person who needs constructive help gets that constructive help. That's always the equation in any situation, regardless of what type of labels you put on it. You want to know, is anybody being mistreated? And is everybody getting constructive help that is needed by everybody who is involved, without exception? It's called justice. It's never been produced. That should be the aim. Get rid of every system that's not producing justice and come up with a system that does.
All righty. Let's move to this. For those of you who have heard the voice, that is the voice of Neely Fuller. We are live this day, December the 6th, 2017. He is emanating from Washington, D.C., and he's the author of the book, The United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept. And at the 45-minute mark, we will have Mr. Fuller talk about his book, how you can get it, and all the details necessary that you need for that, and also the word guide. But that'll be at the 45-minute mark or somewhere around there. He's here to take your calls, and I will read your Gmails. Phone lines are now open, 1-877-932-9766. Or you can Gmail me at the numeral 7, Mr. Bobby, BOBBY, at gmail.com. Mr. Fuller, there was a question coming from the Gmails. CB noticed that, Mr. Bobby, Mr. Fuller did not address the ninth area of people activity, war. Can you ask him why, Mr. Fuller? Mr. Fuller?
Hello, I am not hearing anything. Okay. I am not hearing anything on my end.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you faintly.
Okay, let's see if we can work that out. Okay, is that better? No? Okay. This person, CB, wrote, Mr. Fuller did not address the ninth area of people activity, which is war. Can you ask him why he did not address that?
Yes, the answer is I didn't address that because I prefer to people to read that in the book, because it can be very easily misinterpreted. It can very easily lend itself to confusion if we just do bits and pieces of what the war section is really about, and particularly when it comes to the use of the term maximum emergency compensatory action. That is very specific, and it lends itself to a lot of misunderstanding if the person is not actually reading it word for word, the entire section, and the individual person should read the entire section, become very familiar with the section, what it means, what it doesn't mean, what it means and what it doesn't mean, in all conditions. Get a full understanding. So, since we're talking about people dying, we're talking about people killing, we're talking about people being killed, that's a very, 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 very delicate subject and should not be played with in any form. Killing is serious business. Now, all of these systems, or all of the areas of activity, are a form of war if someone is being harmed. You can be harmed through economics. You can be harmed, that's the use of time and energy. You can be harmed through people using time and energy. They use their time and energy harming people. You can be harmed through an educational system that is failing to do what it should do, or the third area of activity, entertainment, and then the other areas of activity, labor, law, politics, religion, sex. This is all can be called war. It's all a part of the war. See, so when you get to a section that's just called, that has the label called war, that doesn't say that the other areas of activity are not inclusive of the word war too. If someone is being what? Mistreated. War is mistreatment. Counter-war is being against mistreatment. But this section, the ninth area of activity, specifically deals with people killing people, not just mistreating people, like on a job and whatnot. I mean, you're not getting paid enough to sustain yourself, and since you can't sustain yourself, you get in trouble trying to do other things, since you don't have adequate pay on the job that you have, and you might get into some type of what they call illegalities that goes into another area of activity, and the next thing you know, you're in big trouble when it really wasn't your fault. You weren't getting enough money to be able to pay for the things that you needed to have to sustain yourself. And that is a form of war. Someone is mistreating you. If you're working and doing everything that you should do, obeying all the laws and all like that, you shouldn't be punished in any way for being inadequately compensated for what you're doing. So that's a form of mistreatment, and any form of mistreatment is a form of war. But getting to the ninth area of activity, I don't want to talk about it on the air, simply because it gets too intricate. It lends itself to too much misunderstanding, and someone may get the incorrect idea, and you get the thing that you definitely don't want to get, and that is confusion. And you can't have not 1 ounce of confusion when you start talking about people killing people, people being killed, talking about how to go killing you. When you start talking about that, that's very delicate and should be taken seriously. Under the system of white supremacy, killing people is considered to be a form of fun. We want to get away from that. Killing people in the system of white supremacy comes under the classification of entertainment, which is why you have so many books called murder mysteries, or sometimes called thrillers. And you have so many movies, so many video games that are just designed to encourage people, to entice people, to make fun out of people killing people. When I was coming up, I was taught that, oh, that guy fell off the horse. Did you see the way he fell off the horse when he was shot? Boy, that was pretty. That's the way we, I'm a 10-year-old, and that's the way we were talking. Because we were taught that. We weren't born thinking like that. Did you see the way he came off that horse? Man, he blew him right out of the saddle. Man, and the horse was dragging him because he was still attached to the horse by a rope. Okay? And man, I mean, that was pretty. That was beautiful. There's nothing beautiful about that. There's no beauty in that at all. There's no beauty in death. None. Zero. So why would people set up a system where they taught people to think like that unless they have evil intent? So you don't want to do anything to entice people to even think in that direction. So this whole thing about people killing people should be taken extremely seriously. Extremely seriously. All of the fun should be taken out of this proposition of one person killing another person all over this planet.
So if a person, before we take this call, if a person had a question about that, how would they get that answered if you do not want to address the war section because it might cause confusion? So how would they address that question then individually? Mr. Fuller?
Again, I can't hear what's being said.
Okay, before we take the next call, if a person had a question about war because they didn't understand something, being that you have stated that the answer to any problem is to want to know why, how would they get that question answered?
Oh, the person would have to, I would just have to do some better writing.
Okay.
Or the person would have to do some better reading. Because I am writing down everything that I have to say about war in the war section. Everything that I have to say.
Okay.
So the person, if they can't interpret what is being said by what I have written, the only thing I can do is just recite what I have already written, because I can't deviate from what I've written.
Okay.
And if I try to embellish that in some type of way other than the way that I'm doing it now, that war should be taken seriously, all right, then there may be some questions I can answer, but I can probably do it this way. The person could ask the question, and I would probably say to the person, most likely I would say to the person, well, you have to go directly to the book.
Okay.
To find that out, because I'm not going to try to paraphrase, because it may lead to some misunderstanding
or confusion.
But there might be some questions I can answer. All right, like I did just now.
Yes, sir.
I answered the question about even going to the book and why. So that was an answer.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, but if a person has something specific to ask, and if sometimes what counter-races, particularly when you start talking about maximum emergency compensatory action, that is very delicate, and if a person asks anything specific about that, most likely I'm going to refer to the book. What does the book say?
Okay.
And interpret it the way that you see fit to interpret it, and hopefully that would be the correct way to do it. That's the way I will direct it.
Yes, sir.
But the person can. All questions are always valid. I can't dodge a question.
Okay. All right, what line am I on here? Line 3? Okay, line 3. You are now on with Mr. Fuller. Go ahead with your question.
Hi, good morning. I was calling to find out, or I guess my question for Mr. Fuller today, because I hear these code words being thrown out the last couple of days as far as party over country or party over morality or party over integrity when it comes to just choosing, I guess my thing would be choosing white supremacy over your country. That's how I interpret it. But wouldn't country supersede the party? Or am I looking into it too deeply as far as when they say party, they mean white supremacy is over the country?
Mr. Fuller?
Okay, in answer to that question, the code, according to compensatory logic, according to the compensatory code, when you're having a conversation with someone, and that's someone that you're having a conversation with, say something that you do not understand, the only person who is supposed to explain what is being said is the person who is saying it. See, so I can't interpret what somebody else is saying. I have my ideas about what they could be saying, but when they person say party over country, I would say, wait a minute, sir. See, the procedure, the compensatory procedure is, if you don't mind, sir, will you explain, first of all, what is a country and what is a party and what are the differences between the two? And wait for the answer. Do not help the person with the answer. That's a part of the code. When you ask a question, don't help the person with the answer, because you already have an idea about what your answer would be. That's the reason for that. All right? But you want to know what this person's answer is to the question, because that's the person who did the talking. So, in my response to a person saying something to me, what's the difference between party and country? I would say, I don't know. If you are telling me that there is a difference, then you tell me what the difference is. I mean, don't tell me this part of it. Tell me all of it. Sir, you used the term party over country. I didn't use that term. Since you used the term, will you kindly explain what you mean, sir? Not what somebody else means. Not what somebody else might have read in the paper about it, and all like that. Some other author, that came up with some definitions. No, the person doing the talking should explain what he or she means when he or she says whatever is being said. That's compensatory logic. That's universal logic.
Okay. Thank you, my brother, for your call. Thank you, Mr. Fuller, for the answer. TalkTimeRadio.com is a 24/7 no-charge worldwide broadcasting facility with hosts delivered on various topics such as news, lifestyle, sports, law, health, wellness, religion, and politics. Here are a couple that I'd like to share with you, a couple meaning 3 now. Pastor O Speaks. You can check that one out. Of course, This is Libby. And The Voice of Deliverance. Now, all these shows are exclusive to TalkTainmentRadio.com. And all you have to do is go to the TalkTainmentRadio.com homepage, click on Programs, and it will give you a brief description of the program and also the times. And I believe the show hosts are on there. All this from TalkTainmentRadio.com. Radio, the way it should be heard. You are listening to The Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. And we didn't give the topic off because we did have a phone call. But the topic today is basically going to center around economics in the system of racism, which is white supremacy. We're going to focus in on that. But as usual, since it is an open topic, you can, if you have a question in any other area, you can also ask that question too, and Mr. Fuller will be happy to address that. You can call 1-877-932-9766. You can Gmail me at the numeral 7, Mr. Bobby, BOBBY, at gmail.com. The rebroadcast of this program can be seen on Facebook.com/Talktainment. And then this one here, if you want to view and hear the program live, you can do this. All you have to do is go to YouTube, then type in the word Talktainment, then hit the space bar and type in the word radio. Scroll down to Talktainment 2 Live on YouTube. And again, you can also hear us live at talktainmentradio.com. And while you're there, I'm asked to read this. You can hit the like button and subscribe on YouTube. Okay? All righty, got those out the air. Mr. Fuller, in the remaining 5 minutes we have before we have to take that commercial break or station break, economics in the system of racism and white supremacy, and you mentioned it in a answer previously about you spoke to time and energy. Can you address that in the system of racism and white supremacy in regards to economics?
No, the question is what now?
About time and energy in the system of racism, white supremacy in regards to economics.
Oh, well, that's what economics is. Economics deals with, what does the word economics mean? It means different things to different people. But basically, according to what I have written, I just say it's the use of time and energy. Because, you use time and you use energy. Energy is here in the universe, and time is here in the universe. And that's what all creatures and all things are given. They're given energy and they're given time. These are the gifts that come with whatever created the universe. All right? So that's the proposition. That's what you start with. We have time and we have energy.
Mm-hmm.
When a baby comes into the world, the baby has time and the baby has energy. And then it's a lot of equipment that goes with the use of that time and energy, a brain, hands, feet, eyes, and now that energy is put to work. And the baby cries out. That's the first use of the time and the energy. And the baby cries out in response to the conditions that the baby has been presented with. Presumably these conditions are unfavorable. A baby is born all babies are born under unfavorable conditions because the world is not the way that it ought to be. So the baby comes here crying out in protest. And the baby is using its time and its energy to do that. We see that. That's self-evident, you might say. So from then on, the baby starts trying to correct whatever needs to be corrected. And the baby will make mistakes in doing so. For instance, the baby will try to stand up in the crib and the baby will fall down. That's a mistake because the baby was trying to stand up. But the baby has not learned to use its balance yet, which is the use of time and energy. See, I'm just going through some sort of baby steps here to say what economics really is.
Yes, sir.
So this is a presumption based on what? Evidence, not based on what Neely Fuller is saying. I'm just observing what everybody else is observing it.
Okay.
And I think that I'm describing it correctly, that this is how it works.
Okay.
This is all we have. So then later on, someone comes up and says, well, we can use time and energy to do some other things other than just stand up in a crib. I mean, we can walk around. I mean, after we learn to walk, other than just being in the crib, walking around in the crib, holding on to the side of the crib. We can hold on to other things.
Okay.
Now we can get something done. Okay?
All right.
And then that's the use of time and energy.
Okay.
Now, the white supremacists have decided to use their time and energy mistreating and dominating people for the sake of what? What people usually want out of their uses of time and energy.
Yes, sir.
What everybody wants. And what is that? Usually, based on evidence now, it's fun, glory, and material gain.
Okay.
Material comfort.
All right.
Everybody wants that.
Everybody.
But it's about what it comes down to, where the conflict comes from, is the way you go about getting it. The way you go about getting your fun and your glory and your material comfort.
Okay. This is Mr. Bobby. I'm the co-host on the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller. And if you would like to get in contact with the show, you can do so by calling 1-877-932-9766. You can Gmail me at the number 7, Mr. Bobby, BOBBY, at gmail.com. You can also hear a rebroadcast of today's program by going to facebook.com/talktainment. Or you can do this. You can watch and hear us, the live broadcast of the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller. All you have to do is go to YouTube and then type in the word Talktainment. Then hit the space bar and type in the word radio. Scroll down to Talktainment number 2, live on YouTube, where you can also hear us on talktainmentradio.com. And while you're there, hit the like button and subscribe to subscribe to us on YouTube. Okay. Okay. We got a phone call. What line? 3. Okay. Number 3, line 3. You're on with Mr. Fuller. What is your question?
Hi, sir. I just wanted to say hi, and I really don't have a word to say right now. But I heard all of this, and after learning all this knowledge and working with these people and being around these people, like where do I find people of like us who think the same way, so we'll be able to work around them and work amongst our own. I mean, I'm a CDL driver, I'm a truck driver, but I work for people from the other race, and I could see where all the things are happening, and if this happens, I get the blame, or like I'm being slowed down and I'm not being treated the right way. So I just wanted to know, like, where can I find people who, like us, of our own race, who have the same job industry,
Okay. Mr. Fuller, could you hear that question?
If I understand the question is, where do you find people who are of like mind? In other words, that you can discuss things with, like we're discussing now?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't look for them. Just whatever people you happen to run into, there's only two things you think about. Constructive, non-constructive. That's all. That's it. I don't care where you are on the planet. You got to be somewhere. And you're going to be all kinds of places, around all kinds of people. But all you have to remember is whatever is going on is going to be in one of 2 categories. Just one of 2. Just one. It's not going to be both. It's going to be one or the other. So you just look around and you got one question. Sir, ma'am, if you're talking to people, because if you're saying people, so that you're going to be around all kinds of people, all of your existence, most likely. So, but it's just one basic thing to remember, and that is to put everything in one of 2 categories: constructive, non-constructive. And the way you approach it when you're talking to people, because you're talking about how do you interact with people, you're going to interact with people mostly by talking. They're talking to you, you're talking to them. So what you do is listen to everything that person has to say. And then you have in your mind while they're talking, is this constructive or non-constructive? And if you think it might be non-constructive, or if you think it might be constructive, but you have doubts about which category it's in, then you ask the question of the person that you're talking to. If you yourself are confused about the way the conversation is going, you ask, is what we're talking about, is this constructive? And if it is constructive, how is it constructive? What is the purpose for us talking? Is it to produce something that is going to have a constructive result? Or if we are going to produce something that has a non-constructive result? And I'm about trying to do something that's going to have a constructive result, because I think that's what we should be doing. Now, do you think that's what we should be doing? You can ask the person that you're talking to that question. Do you think that we should be doing something constructive or non-constructive? Because we're going to be doing one or the other. I'm going to be doing one or the other. Everybody that's around me is going to be doing one or the other. So the only real question is, if we are doing anything around each other or with each other, is it going to produce a constructive result or a non-constructive result? And if so, how? If it's going to be constructive, how? Show me how it's going to be constructive, or explain to me how it's going to be constructive. And that's it. So you don't have to go around and say, well, nobody thinks like I do, or, and all that. Don't even think about that. You're going to just say what you are going to do wherever you happen to be. That's the United Independent Way. The whole idea of the compensatory code is to empower the individual person. So you don't have to go and try to look for a certain setting to do whatever you're going to do. Every setting is correct. If you go anywhere in the world, anytime, just keep in mind, everything that's going on around you is either going to be in a constructive category or a non-constructive category. And if you're confused about it, you just start asking questions. Because the way to get out of confusion is through the process of what? Questions and answers.
Yes, sir.
And it'll always take you where you need to go. It'll always take everybody where everybody needs to go.
All right.
Questions and answers.
All right.
That gets rid of confusion. And you want to be able to tell the difference between constructive activity, non-constructive activity. And that includes conversations. If you're having a conversation with someone, at some point, you should say, can I ask a question? Is this conversation supposed to lead to something constructive? And if so, how? I mean, but first of all, let's find out, why are we talking? Is this conversation supposed to lead to a constructive result? And if so, what will be that constructive result? Sir, ma'am, always be courteous. And that's with anybody, anywhere, anytime. Don't try to find a safe spot on the planet, because there's no such thing as that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to find a certain setting where you say, now I can start using codified procedure. No, codified procedure applies to all settings. All. Nothing is left out, wherever you happen to be on the planet. You don't start thinking in terms of the black community. There's no such thing as that. That doesn't exist. It's just people, period. And those people are either going to be doing something constructive or non-constructive, including when they have conversations. That is the only criteria. Once you latch on to that, you got it all.
Yes, sir. TalkTainmentradio.com. We go where you go. Download the TalkTainmentRadio.com app to your cell or to your tablet. That's radio the way it should be heard. My name is Mr. Bobby. I am the co-host of the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller. You like to get in contact with the show, you can do so by calling 1-877 932-9766. You can also Gmail me at the numeral 7, Mr. Bobby, BOBBY, at gmail.com. If you want to hear the rebroadcast of today's program, you can go to facebook.com/Talktainment. And you could also do this on YouTube, where you can see and hear us. All you have to do is go to YouTube and then type in the word Talktainment. Then hit the space bar and type in the word radio. Scroll down to Talktainment #2 live on YouTube. You're there. You're there. You're right there. And while you're there, hit the like button and subscribe on YouTube. Okay, Mr. Fuller, this is the 45-minute mark, which we have designated as the space for you to promote and speak about your book. So go ahead, please, Mr. Fuller. Mr. Fuller, can you hear?
All right,
Okay.
I'm still hearing you very, very, very faintly, but I hope that the audience is being able to hear you.
Okay.
And hear me.
Okay.
I'm not hearing you very well. I'm not hearing much of anything very well, but I can hear that. You're talking about the book. And the book, you can get the book, The Compensatory Counter-Racist Code. That's a textbook workbook for thought, for speech, and or action for people who perceive themselves to be victims of the system of white supremacy. If you don't perceive yourself as being a subject to or victim of racism, which is white supremacy, then the book is not for you. And it's addressed to you as an individual person. It's called the United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept. And a supplementary title of the book is A Compensatory Counter-Racist Code, meaning things that you do, things that you don't do, things that you say, things that you don't say, questions asked when other people say certain things or do certain things, and how to, some guides, rather, and how to look at what's going on around you and how to interpret what is going on around you, and ask yourself questions and get answers, and asking other people questions and getting answers. How to go about doing that in a codified and orchestrated, methodical way. In order to do what? In order to do one basic thing: solve problems in the most constructive manner. That's the thing you want to focus on as an individual person, without having to check with anybody. These are things you do yourself. Go anywhere on the planet, anywhere in the known universe, if you can get there, or if you happen to be there, and know what to do and what not to do, what to say and what not to say, how to react to what other people are doing around you, and how not to react to what other people are doing around you in all areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. What to do and what to say and what not to do and what not to say in all of these areas of activity. That's what the book is about. You can get it by going to producejustice.com. Producejustice.com. And you only pick and choose. See, it's not dictatorial. The book is not dictatorial. You pick and choose the thing that makes sense or doesn't make sense to anybody else. What makes sense to you, that's the only part that you use. If it doesn't make sense to you, pass it to another.
Okay. All righty. Let's see here. If the book makes sense to you, that's the part that you use, Mr. Fuller. Okay. Let's do this. Whoa. Now we have temporarily lost
Entertainment Radio Worldwide
connection, so I'm going to attempt to get Mr. Fuller back on the line. That's part of the problem when you have communication. Brother Mirto, down in the so-called French Guiana, I have working on what you had Gmailed me in. So, yeah, all you have to do to get Mr. Fuller's book is go to producejustice.com. That is producejustice.com. And as he indicated, what will come up on the screen is all the information you need to get the book. And also, while you are there, he has an additional word guide, which when we get him back on the line, as we are efforting to, he will explain the word guide, the use of words when you are asking your questions, because you do need to be clear so that an understanding can be established. Why is that important? Because you don't want to get confusion. Now, if you're wondering why I am talking, and a lot of people will wonder because they say, let Fuller talk. Mr. Fuller is not on the line right now, so unless you want to hear silence, which I don't think you want to do, this is what I have to do and until we establish the line again. So, again, you can call in at 1-877-932-9766. You can also hear the program on the rebroadcast by going to facebook.com/talktainment, or you can also Gmail me at the numeral 7, Mr. Bobby, BOBBY, at gmail.com. And also, yes, you can go to YouTube, type in the word Talktainment, then hit the space bar, and then type in the word Talktainment 2 live on YouTube, and you will be there. How about that? So that you can ask your questions. Now, today's topic, we've been trying to effort to get there, is we're talking about economics, and Mr. Fuller did speak or address that topic, in particular the segment on time and energy. We are still efforting to get Mr. Fuller back on the line. That's why I am speaking, and trust me, people will call in and tell me that I'm speaking too much, but this is what we have to do right now. And yes, I'm going to explain that to you so that you don't have to call in and say that I'm hogging or dogging the show and all that kind of stuff. We have somehow, through communication, lost communication directly with Mr. Fuller, so we are efforting, trying to make contact with him, and maybe this might be him right now, but this is what we are doing. Let me see if that red light comes on, then we can get him back on here. Okay, but this is what we are trying to do here. Okay, we got him? Okay. Mr. Fuller, apologies to you. I don't know what happened. The line just got cut off, but welcome back. You were in the last processes of just talking about your book, how you can get it, and then I wanted to ask you, did the problem get straightened out about getting the word guide overseas?
You want to ask about what now? Getting the word guide overseas? Yeah,
overseas. I remember.
No, that hasn't been resolved yet.
Okay. Okay, but you can get the book by going to producejustice.com. Okay, now, when you mention economics, and that's what our base subject is, our topic is, there was a word that was used on page 63, the word beg. Could you explain begging in the system of racism, which is white supremacy?
Say that again.
Can you describe begging? You mentioned the word beg on page 63 of the Revised Expanded Edition, and the question came up, can you explain the use of the word begging or beg in the system of racism or white supremacy?
The root of which word?
Beg, but you beg. You're begging for something.
Begging?
Yes, sir. You mentioned it on page 63.
Oh, begging is nothing but asking more than once. Hello?
Yeah, you're still here, yeah.
Yes. Begging, B-E-G-G-I-N-G. Begging means you ask a person for something, and you ask more than one time. That's begging. Asking means you just ask one time, and the person know that you have asked that person for something. So that's asking. You just said, pass the lemonade. All right? That's asking. Sitting at the dinner table. All right? Now, if the person says, if I heard you and didn't pass the lemonade, then you might ask again. But once you ask again and the person heard you the first time and refused, made a decision not to pass you the lemonade, now you are begging the person to pass the lemonade. If you ask the second time, or the third time, or the fourth time, that gets into the begging category. Black people in the system of white supremacy have been made, just by being in the system of white supremacy, permanent beggars. We ask over and over and over again. And sometimes we get results, and most of the time we do not get the results that we should get. Most of the time. In anything that has constructive value. Now, if we ask for something that is non-constructive, we usually get tons of that. Mm-hmm. All right? Because the system of white supremacy is all about what? Well, give them something that's going to harm them. If they ask for something that's going to harm them, we provide that because we love doing harm to them. They are people of color. You do harm to people of color. That's what you do as a white supremacist, or you're not doing your job. All right? So that's what we're about.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But begging and asking, make that very clear. When you ask more than once, and the person heard you ask the first time, and refused to act on what you asked for, now you are begging that person once you ask the second time.
Okay.
We are, as prisoners of war, we are in a position where we are permanent beggars as long as the system of white supremacy exists. So you don't be ashamed of begging, and you don't be proud of begging. You just acknowledge that that's what we are, because we're in a begging position. That's the position that we were born in, a begging position. We're not in a position where we don't have to beg. We have to beg. And we will continue to beg as long as the system of white supremacy is in place.
Wow. Wow. Whoa. We're going to pick that up on the other side. Okay, now are you asking Mr. Fuller a question on that or what? I know it was a proposal.
Will he accept 1 year to determine whether black people can live on the planet with white people existing on the planet?
Okay, Mr. Fuller?
No, I don't set that type of time frame, and for a very logical reason. Why would I set a time frame when I don't know what kind of power or all the things that are going to happen in 1 year, in 365 days. I would have to know a whole lot to be able to say what the situation would be at the end of that year. And I don't know anything about that. I don't even know whether I'll be here at the end of the year. I can't even make a plan. I haven't made a plan. I'm not even thinking about making a plan based on 365 days. I just say you start from where you are as an individual person and try to, on a day-to-day basis, this is all my entire book is about, each individual person say what I'm going to do each and every day is try to be as constructive as I possibly can in this prison that I'm in, as I possibly can. In every move that I make, in everything that I say, I'm going to try to make it as constructive as I possibly can, not non-constructive. Try to make it something try to do all that I can to guarantee that no person is mistreated as best I can, wherever I happen to be at any given moment, and or guarantee that the person that I can help the most gets the most constructive help, and try to get people to do the same with me as best I possibly can in this prison, this world prison called the system of white supremacy. I am a prisoner of war, okay? It's not like I'm sitting on a mountaintop somewhere, free from everything, and I'm sitting down making plans for my future, and nobody has any authority over me. I am in the system of white supremacy. I'm in their prison. I'm behind their walls. They dictate every move that I make. So I can't make a year plan based on what everybody else is going to do, because I don't know what everybody else is going to do. I can only account for myself and hope that I can get other people to do some of the things that I'm suggesting that everybody should be doing, but that's the best that I can do. But within the little space that I have as one individual person, I can't just wave my hand and say at the end of the year, this is going to be our situation or else. Now, who am I going to give that or else to, and where are all of the people that I'm going to need to be on board with me at the end of that 365 days? How am I going to pull that off? Now, if someone can come up with a plan where they can guarantee that at the end of the 365 days, everything is going to be in place to make that ultimatum, because that would be an ultimatum. See, that would be, we're no longer begging. We're going to ask you to do what needs to be done, you white supremacists of the world. We're going to ask you one time, because that's what asking is, so that you understand that we're asking you, and you understand what we're asking for. Everybody's got an understanding of that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you refuse, like in the movie Godfather, which I saw on, I think, earlier this morning or yesterday or sometime. They keep showing it on television, and I keep learning that lesson, too, the difference between asking and begging. Don Corleone had a code, you might say, if I don't ask but one time, next time I bring Luca Brasi. All right? Or next time you find a horse's head in your bed. I ask you for what I want one time. If I don't get it, I don't ask a second time. All right? Now, I don't know of any non-white people anywhere who are in that kind of position when it comes to dealing with the white supremacists.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
See, so I ask many times, which means I beg. I see people in the street marching. They are begging because they march over and 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 over again. And what is that? According to the code, that's begging.
Okay.
Big time. But you shouldn't feel ashamed to beg. See, the white supremacists put in our minds, hey, I know you're in my prison. I know I have complete power over you. I know you have to beg me for your next meal. I know that. Because I control all the food, not some of it. You think you can get control of something on my planet and you're black? You haven't proven that you can get control over something on my planet if you're black. Show me something that you have control over other than taking your own life. That's the only thing that you can do. You can commit suicide. You can make that choice. And then I no longer have control over you except just your dead body.
Mm-hmm.
Like Gandhi said. You know, you can beat me to death, then you'll have my dead body, but you won't have my cooperation.
Okay.
All right? So that's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
So now if anybody can come up with a 365-day deadline, I'm saying the code doesn't disallow that. The code says come up with that plan. I don't have a plan for that.
Okay. All righty. There you have it. Line 3. Okay. Line number 3, you're on with Mr. Fuller. Go ahead, please.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Bobby, Mr. Fuller, Brother Muko from Baltimore,
Yes, sir.
where we hold the compensatory constructive action discussion, 3503 Glen Arm Avenue. Mr. Fuller, can you please, for the care unit in Baltimore, because a lot of people, non-white people, believe that money is the answer or the solutions to all of their problems, so to speak. You know, like to think that if they have money, they can obtain anything in the system of white supremacy. So, to eliminate the confusion on that, can you please expound for the care unit in Baltimore how money is just a tool of economics and it's not economics itself?
Good question.
Yes, the white supremacists have taught us, get money, and then you'll have power. But the white supremacists do not teach us how to get money. Okay? Because the money comes from them. They decide what money is. Money can be a piece of paper. Money can be a rock. Like a diamond is a rock. But the white supremacists determine what is money and what isn't. This is why there are black people who have what they call their own so-called countries. They have their independence. And they say, I have my independence. That's my flag out there. I designed that flag. So I have my own flag. I don't have somebody else's flag. All right? And I have my own currency, meaning my money. And I have some of the prettiest money you'll ever see. I got my artists to design the money for my country, my black country. And it's beautiful money. When you look at that money, you don't even want to spend it. I mean, you want to keep it forever because, I mean, the designs on it, the pictures on it. I mean, I got all kinds of things on that money. I mean, it's just like looking at a TV screen. It's like looking at a beautiful scenery standing on a mountaintop. I mean, these artists really did a great job. Boy, this is some pretty money. But the white supremacists, if you are black, the white supremacists will look at your pretty money and say to you, oh yeah, that's your money? I'll tell you what, there's some pretty pictures on it. All right. Yeah, you got this, you got that, you got the best artists in the world. I mean, you people can really paint some pretty pictures. I will say that. And you have painted these pretty pictures on your money. And you say that this money is valuable. This money is this money is that. And I'm going to tell you something, boy. That money ain't worth nothing as far as buying something, because I own everything on the planet that you're going to buy with that money. All right? You don't own anything. And you can't buy nothing unless I sell it to you. And I only sell you what I want you to have.
Wow.
So your money is worthless until I say what it's worth. Now here's what. I will say that it is worth this and that today. But tomorrow, I may change my mind. I may change my mind today. I may change my mind in the next 15 minutes and tell you that your money ain't worth nothing. Now, how are you going to prove to me, a white supremacist over you, that your money is worth what you say it is, when I'm saying your money ain't worth nothing, neither are you, unless I say so. Why? Because I got authority over you. And don't you ever forget that, boy. As long as I got you, I not only got your money, I got your wife, your children, your mother, your father, and anything else that you ever intend to have. Why? Because I got the best money in the world. And that is what? You. I got you.
Wow.
All of you black people. That's what white supremacy means. as long as I got you, I got everything that you got. You haven't figured that out? You're dumber than dumb.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Good question.
Thank you guys for doing everything you do. My two favorite people in the world.
Good hearing from you, Brent Wilco. Thank you.
Okay.
Man, that was. TalkTimeRadio.com is a 24/7 no-charge worldwide broadcasting facility with hosts delivering on various topics such as news, lifestyle, sports, law, news, health, wellness, religion, and politics. Now let's see if I can get a couple new shows in here. Okay, it's your time to travel with Ricky Tyus, The Kinsman with Malik Haru, and let's go here, Senior Agenda with Lisa Stockdale. These particular shows and more are exclusive to TalkTainmentRadio.com. All you have to do is to go to TalkTainmentRadio.com, click on Programs for the scheduled times. All this exclusive to TalkTainmentRadio.com. That's radio the way it should be heard. My name is Mr. Bobby. I am the co-host on The Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., who is live from Washington, D.C. He has written a book, The United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept, which he will be discussing around the 45-minute mark, about a half an hour from now, where you can get the details on how to get the book and any other pertinent information. Our featured topic today is economics in the system of racism, which is white supremacy, and we do and are accepting your calls at 1-877-932-9766. Gmail, the numeral 7, Mr. Bobby at Mr. Bobby, BOBBY, at gmail.com. You can review or replay today's program by going to facebook.com/talktainment, or you can do this. You can look at us live right now on the YouTube channel. All you have to do, let me get my paper here, is go to YouTube, then type in the word Talktainment, then hit the space bar, and then type in the word radio. Scroll down to Talktainment #2 live on YouTube, and you are there. Hit the like button and also the subscribe button, and we are right there. Okay. Let's see here as I get this email back up. You were speaking on economics. But Mr. Fuller, Brother Darius wrote this. He said that, I want you to address this, black man allows himself to be used by a system that is intent on his destruction. One commercial after another, white man makes a Cadillac, black couple is shown enthusiastically longing for it. Insurances, malt liquor, you name it. Anything the black man is shown as the ultimate consumer of goods and services that he cannot provide for himself. We send him out to our schools. We teach them how to work for us. We pay him just enough to keep him coming back for more. We sell things he doesn't need to impress people. I've heard you say that, Mr. Fuller. He doesn't know and couldn't care less about him. An overwhelming number of ads are designed with him in mind. We rarely see any other group of people being marketed to with such zeal. We will keep him dependent upon us, an economic slave. Jim Crow wasn't about separation so much as it was about keeping the blacks from being self-sufficient, eternally attached to the system for all his needs. Mr. Fuller, you care to address that?
Well, all of the writing that I have from cover to cover and from cover to cover and from cover to cover, and everything that I'm saying is what? It boils down to one thing. If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, everything else that you understand will confuse you. So what is white supremacy? It's a system designed to dominate and mistreat people who have color in their skin. That's what it's designed to do. It's the most successful political and religious system ever dreamed up in the minds of the people entire history of the planet Earth. It's the most successful business. It's the most successful enterprise ever dreamed up. It is successful. And it's successful based on doing just what the person just said. I mean, what the results are.
Yes.
It's complete power.
Yes.
Over people. And it is based on dominating and mistreating people based on color in order to produce what? What everybody wants. Every person, every animal, every creature wants what? Wants to have fun, wants to have glory, and wants to have material comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Things that food, clothing, that's material comfort.
Yes, sir.
And you want fun. Everybody likes to have fun. You see squirrels chasing each other and whatnot. They're not trying to harm each other and whatnot. I've seen it. I've seen them chasing each other from vine to vine. They're having fun. All right? They have plenty of food. They've already eaten. That's why they have all that energy. All right? Now they're having fun. Just playing little games with each other. All right? Okay? And the animals do that. And people do the same thing. They like to have fun. So the white supremacists have fun mistreating people of color. That's their fun. And they get what? The next thing, glory. Meaning they feel good about themselves. All right? That's the result of the fun that they get. And they look at each other and shake each other's hands when they mistreat black people successfully. People of color, black, brown, red, yellow, all of the non-white people of the planet. They shake hands, when they're successful at doing a new type of thing to do harm to people of color. They get a charge out of that. All right? Saddle up, boys, and let's go get them, And they used to have picnics, make a picnic. They have pictures of it. They show them in their own books. They show pictures where they are lynching or burning a black person, have them hanging up from a tree, and then they cut the rope and let them fall to the ground, and they set them on fire.
I've seen
and
it.
Everybody stand around and smile at the camera.
Yes.
You've seen that yourself. If you haven't seen it, go and look. Go and look for it on the internet and whatnot. You'll see it. That's fun. Burn that Negro. That's glory. Oh, that makes you feel good. Ah, see how God likes that. Yeah. We did it, didn't we? Oh, boy. Saddle up, boys, and let's go get them. Just the good old boys, just having fun. We'll hang them high and watch them die in the noonday sun.
Wow.
Yahoo! All over the world, 24/7. That's what they breathe for. That's what they look forward to. They don't even want to be on the planet if they can't do that. That's the way the white supremacists think. And if non-white people don't understand that, they don't understand anything about the world that they're in. Because that's what it's really all about. And everybody has fallen in line behind it. It's the most powerful force that the world has ever seen. And it is successful.
Yes.
Now what we need is a counter force. And you start with the individual person, and that's what I'm trying to do. It's about not just talking about the problem, but coming up with solutions. As far as I'm concerned, to the best of my knowledge, it starts with each individual person having a code of thought, of speech, and of action that you enact every day, everywhere that you go, as best you can.
Yes, sir.
In this prison called the system of white supremacy.
Wow. Let's go to line number 3. Line number 3, you're on with Mr. Fuller. Go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Bobby, and greetings to both of you. I'm curious to know, I have a brief comment, but I also want to get this question. When we'll get to the segment on warfare, I think that's, if not one of the most necessary parts of the book that we should discuss, certainly one of them. I anxiously look forward to the discussion of that topic. It's one of the things that black people don't seem to think is relevant to their lives when, everything in nature, even though we do like to have fun by nature and enjoy ourselves, there's a constant war going on, and there's a undeclared war, between, as Mr. Fuller was just saying, between, the white supremacists and the non-white people, and we don't seem to recognize war for what it is, where they're constantly trying to destroy us, and we constantly try to find a way to fit in to that destruction, and we don't seem to be aware that of the inevitability of what war brings. It keeps us, subjugated because we don't realize we're at war.
Okay.
But I also wanted to say that I had never heard of anyone, Mr. Fuller was just talking about the misconception of money, and I've never heard of anybody on their deathbed asking for more money. When a person is grave and ill, what they want is their health, they want their love, they want their protection, they want their family, they want their peace of mind. They don't want money. And it's a big just sorcery that we think that money actually will help improve us as people. The brother said, one of the callers remarked about how money is a tool, and Mr. Fuller was in agreement with it. But I just anxiously look forward to when the discussion on warfare takes place. And I look forward to that very much. I thank both of you gentlemen.
Okay.
I thank you again, Mr. Fuller, and I don't want you to think your words are being wasted, because I have, in every day, I try to think of another creative way that I can employ that code and pass it on to someone else.
Okay. Thank you very much for your call. Mr. Fuller, will you go ahead and address that, please?
Well, it wasn't a question there, so that comes under VGQ, and which is something to be considered. Everything that anybody says that may be of some help in replacing the system of racism with the system of justice, which means just doing anything that's constructive, and staying away from everything that is non-constructive, then that's code.
Yes.
That's just the way it works. It's just that simple.
Okay.
Constructive, non-constructive. Each and every day, if you're involved in anything, just kind of back off for a minute and say, now wait a minute, I want to make an assessment. This thing that we are doing, is it constructive or is it non-constructive?
Yes.
And if it is constructive, how? How is it constructive? What is the result of what we're doing?
Okay. The brother briefly asked about war, and you spoke about that in the first segment, but could you address his question about the segment on war?
The segment on war, I'm not going to go into it in detail because it has to do a lot with killing. Because war is not just about killing, war is about mistreatment, okay? But there is a part of war that takes in killing people. That's a huge part of war. We usually think of war, as just being killing. But war is any kind of mistreatment. Okay. Anytime you're being mistreated, somebody has declared war on you and put that war into effect.
Okay.
So black people are victims of war. Okay. See, the war is just one war, and that's the war between those who believe in white supremacy and those who don't. And the white supremacists, so far, have won the war. But the war isn't over until it's over.
Okay.
Until nobody is fighting against it. Nobody's resisting it. That's when the war is over. So people are still resisting the system of white supremacy.
No.
war is still ongoing.
Ongoing.
But the part of the war that takes in killing in the compensatory code book, the ninth area of activity, I do not discuss in detail because it lends itself to confusion when we start discussing that.
Alrighty.
I discovered that by trying it.
Okay. All right.
And the white supremacists will then, they will jump in to that conversation. They would even get they would get black people. They will hire black people. See, I anticipate that because I know how they operate. I know many of the ways that they do operate. I'd like to know all the ways they operate, then we wouldn't be having this problem.
All right.
But nobody knows all the ways that they operate except them.
Okay.
But I do know that anytime you start talking about anything dealing with killing, they are going to be right in the middle of that conversation, even if they use other non-white people to do it. And therefore, that conversation is going to turn in such a way that the white supremacists are going to control that conversation and going to, with a straight face and with justification, quote unquote.
Alrighty.
They're going to end it. They're going to end that conversation and kill it.
Okay.
All right? They're going to kill all the talk about killing because they are the master killers. All right? And they're not going to let anybody be in the killing business who is going to challenge that mastership.
Alrighty. Let's do this. TalkTamitRadio.com. We go where you go. Stay right there. I'm Mr. Bobby, the co-host on the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., who is live from Washington, D.C., here to answer your questions and Gmails. You can call into the show by calling 1-877-932-9766. Gmail me at the numeral 7, MrBobby@gmail.com. Or you can listen to the rebroadcast of the show by going to facebook.com/Talktainment. And finally, you can hear us by going to the YouTube channel. Just type in Talktainment, then hit the space bar and type in the word radio. And then you have to scroll down to Talktainment number 2, live on YouTube, just as simple as that. And while you're there, hit the like button and subscribe button. We are speaking about economics, but Mr. Fuller will answer any of your questions. And speaking about that, let's go to line 3. Line 3, you are now on with Mr. Fuller. Go ahead with your question.
Mr. Neely Fuller?
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
I'm here. Yes, I can hear. I wasn't here in the last, I'll say, 8 minutes or so. I didn't hear anything, but now I'm hearing this. So go ahead.
Can you explain how life was like for you, like in the 1920s, like in your early teens? How life was like for you, like for black people?
Say that again.
Can you explain how life was like for you in your early teens, like for black people?
How life was for you in your early teens and for black people when you were coming up. Is that right, caller?
Yes.
Okay.
How was life for me?
Yeah, that's what the caller indicated. Yes.
Oh, like it always has been, like it is now. Only it was more, the edges were sharp of the sword, you might say. I mean, it was more in your face. There were signs up saying rear seat for colored on buses. And there were signs outside of some towns that said, using the N-word, don't let the sun go down on you here.
Yes.
And they'd use the N-word.
Yeah, sundown towns.
In other words, yeah, sundown towns they call them. There would be a sign. You would go down the highway and there'd be a sign on the side of the highway saying, Negro, only it didn't say Negro, or colored, or black. It would give the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
And then that would be followed by, don't let the sun go down on you here. Meaning, you can pass through this town, you might even stop for gas or something like that. But when the sun goes down and you're a person of color, you are not supposed to be within the limits of that town. Otherwise, anything can happen to you and that shouldn't happen to a person who's classified as a human being. That's what they would tell you. in your face. Those kind of places existed. There were signs up on buses saying the rear seat is for colored. You had to sit on the back of the bus, all right? They had what you call the colored sections of trains. And in the waiting rooms in the bus station, they had the colored section. Go over there and use the colored section. And use the colored bathrooms if you had a bathroom at all right? And colored this, and in some towns, black people and white people would go to the same movie theater, but they had what they call the crow's nest or the rooster's nest, or they had different slang names for it, which means up in the balcony is where the colored people go. And the white people would be down on the ground floor looking at the same movie, all right? And those colored people up there, up over them in the crow's nest, they have to be quiet while they're up there, too, all right? Or the sheriff would come and have all of them taken out of there.
Wow.
I mean, don't disturb those white people down there while they're looking at the movie, okay? And don't get too loud, because black people, Negroes, colored people were considered to be the people who were loud. In fact, somebody told me, I don't know if it's true or not, they had a town in a place called Louisiana where on different corners, they had a barrel.
Yeah, giggle barrels.
What now?
Giggle barrels, when they had to laugh, then they
yes, they said that black people were always laughing. So the laughter of black people was considered to be the loudest laughter that you would ever even hear from anything. All right? So a lot of white people, particularly white women, they objected to this type of thing, that black people laughing out in public. All right? And so they said, well, we're going to have barrels. Every time a black person thought something was funny, they had what you call a laughing barrel on various corners. And the black person, when he got ready to laugh, had to go and stick his head in that barrel. Now, people said that I never saw one, but people who I talked to said they had been in places where they actually had those barrels. There were other places, and I understand that there were places in Florida, they said St. Augustine at one time was this way, that there were, on Saturday night, there were so many people on the street in St. Augustine, Florida, and someone told me this, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard it from several sources, people who said they had been there, that on the main street, during what we call World War II, there were a lot of black soldiers in town or whatnot who would come to St. Augustine, Florida. So there were so many black people on the street and so many white people, the black people were coming too close to white people when they would walk. So therefore, they made a rule. They just said that this is going to be the practice from now on. So I just heard this, that the black people will walk down one side of the street and the white people will walk down the other side. And if the black person happens to catch themselves walking down the street when there was a lot of white people coming, the black person had to step into the gutter, walk in the gutter, walk in the street. Because the white people are not ever supposed to get off the sidewalk for a black person. All right? And that was not only in St. Augustine, Florida. That was in a lot of places. That Negro, don't you dare walk past that white person that's coming toward you down the sidewalk. You step into the street and get back on the sidewalk only after that white person passes you. There's all types of situations like that.
Yes, sir.
And, of course, being called the N-word was routine in many places. I mean, a white person could call you that, and that would be just that. And you better not show like you don't like it. Because you'd have to answer to the sheriff, because the sheriff would come and call you that all the way to the jail while they beat you with a club all the way there, out in the open. They didn't have to explain themselves like they do today. They could kill you, beat you to death right there at high noon on a city street, and many a black person suffered that if they chose to do so. And it wouldn't have to be the sheriff; it could be any white person, and you'd just be a dead Negro. That's all.
Any white person?
Any white person.
Wow.
Any white person, if you made them angry enough, could beat you to death right there on a city street, on a town street, with everybody looking, and that's done. That's a done deal. The sheriff would come, and they say, well, you know, he insulted this white woman. Well, he wouldn't keep his mouth shut, and I told him to shut up, all right? And he just kept mouthing off. You know, well, we'll have a hearing, you know, and look into it, and that'll be, you know, that's it. The hearing of a jury of your peers, all right? So the townspeople would all come. Sometimes they might have a little trial and whatnot. They go through the little routine. Everybody laughing, everybody shaking hands. I mean, you know, the judge shaking hands with all his friends and whatnot in the jury and whatnot. Say, okay, let's have the trial. All right, you know. All right, what did he do? Well, he did this and he did that and he did the other and whatnot. Oh, that's what he did. Oh, that's against the law, you know. Oh, so you were helping to enforce the law. You were being a good citizen. Yeah, cleaning up the neighborhood, you know. So I killed that Negro.
Wow.
You know, only he didn't say Negro.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
cleaning up the, you know, keeping the town clean. I mean, you know, keeping it sacred, keeping it good and Christian. All right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So he's dead, right? Yeah. So I killed him. Well, you know, unfortunately these things happen, and so we'll try to get along from here on. Hope that the other good Negroes learn their lesson from this. All right. Trial is over. Let's all go and have some beer, buddies.
Wow. Let's do this, Mr. Fuller. That was something else. This is the 45-minute mark, a little bit over. You need to speak about your book. Mr. Fuller?
Hello.
Yeah, you need. This is the 45-minute mark. You can speak about your book.
All right, you can get the book, the textbook for victims of white supremacy, which I always say that is my title, really. I say that's the real title that really fits me. Neely Fuller Jr., Victim of White Supremacy. I'm more of that than I ever am anything else. Now, there are a lot of people who will say, oh, it's victimization stuff. I mean, yeah, you know, victimized. I mean, all these people walk around talking about they're victims. Well, if you have a system of evil in place, deliberate evil, called the system of white supremacy, and I understand that there is one. Now, there are people who say that there's no such thing as the system of white supremacy. I say that there is, that no longer is a system of white supremacy, that it does exist, but it is the only game in town. It is the only government. It is the strongest religion on this planet in 2017. That's what I'm saying. Now, that statement is either true or false. So that's what the book is about. It starts with the premise that the government of this entire world, if you give it the correct title, is called the system of white supremacy. And it's the strongest government, the only government worthy of having a name government on this planet in 2017. And it is the strongest religion. There's no religion stronger than the religion of white supremacy. None. According to what? According to evidence, according to what I'm saying. But now, what I'm saying, just because I'm saying it, doesn't make it true or false. Some people say that's a false statement. I say it's a true statement based on evidence. And I stick with that. And so I wrote a book based on that. And I say I'm a victim of that system because the system is designed to victimize people of color. I am a person of color. All right? So I have written a book that's designed for victims of white supremacy and what a victim can and should do about it, in my opinion. And that's all this book is. And you can get it, and it's addressed to the individual person, by the way, not to groups of people. You can't organize it, all right? You organize yourself as an individual because you already have hundreds and hundreds of organizations that are supposed to be solving the problems of people of color. So I came to the conclusion we don't really need any more organizations. We just need each individual person to know what to do on a daily basis. So I wrote a book with that in mind. I don't know if the book will ever be successful in this being carried out, but that's my intention. For the individual person to become super powerful as an individual without checking with anybody, just doing it on their own, becoming a very powerful person on this planet. That's the aim of the book. And you can get the book by going to producejustice.com. Producejustice.com. And what will come up on the screen is the method for ordering.
Okay. From the Gmail, this question came up from Sharnese Woods. She said, Mr. Fuller, I'm sorry if this answer is in the book, but is it logical for non-white people's offspring to call their caregivers by their first name instead of mother or father, mom and dad, in order to cause less confusion and be honest about the current system that we live in?
Oh, you can call them by any name that you want to call that they agree to. Names are just names. I mean, to identify people or what their position is and all like that. So words are just words. I mean, you can give them any kind of meaning you want. And so you can use mom and dad. There's nothing incorrect about that. If you're using the English language, those are slang terms and whatnot. Mom, dad, but basically you're all equal. Now this is the message you want to always send. You're equal because of what? Prisoners of war are all equal. They're equal in the eyes of the prison master. So, and this is also true of their circumstances. See, I'm not really qualified to be anybody's parent in the true sense of the word, in the true definition of the word, because if I have parental authority, it means I have ultimate power, and that power is backed up by whatever power is over me, all right? Now, in the system of white supremacy, the actual parents of all black people are the white supremacists. They're the illegitimate parents, because once people capture me, they have captured all of my offspring, any offspring that I have. I belong to the prison master if I'm born in a prison. So if I have any offspring in that prison, those offspring belong to the prison master. That's the fact. So I'm not anybody's master. I'm not anybody's parent. I have illegitimate parents myself now, and they are every white man, every white woman who is a white supremacist. They are my illegitimate parents. So I am one of their illegitimate children. Why? Because the system itself that captured me is illegitimate. Okay? So we're all illegitimate. They're the illegitimate parents. I'm the illegitimate child. And any offspring that I have are illegitimate. Because we are in an illegitimate system called the system of white supremacy.
Yeah, that's the way it's set up. Let me ask you this, going back to the caller that called in the remaining 4 minutes that we have in the show, ask you about how you grew up retrospectively, Mr. Fuller, as you have grown from that time until now. what has been outstanding to you, or things that you have seen that have changed? Because when you mentioned about the giggle barrels and the standing in the street, or if you've seen a white person come by, of course we don't do that kind of stuff anymore, at least physically. Has there been anything that you have seen that has changed for the better for us in this system of racism, which is white supremacy?
Oh, sure. I mean, it's more convenient. Black people eat better, and, we're better fed, but everybody in the world is. I mean, because of the technology and all like that. But the basic interaction, the quality of the relationships between people, fundamentally, has not changed at all. Black people, the quality of black people interacting with each other is terrible. It's absolutely terrible all over this planet as we speak. Black people killing each other just like they did back in those days, and it's even worse because there are more people doing it now.
Yes.
All right? And white people killing black people. White people killing white people. See, the whole system of white supremacy is rotten from top to bottom.
Yeah, corrupt.
Because it's designed to do evil things. Evil spreads everywhere, even to the evildoer. You can't spread evil without being evil yourself. All right? So you do all kind of contaminated things among yourselves. And this confuses people. All right? So they have made the world a terrible place for anybody to be in. And so it hasn't improved. The technology has improved. We got better means of doing the things that we already do. But the things that we already do not constitute a quality relationship. And I speak about this in the book.
Yes.
I made up this term, quality relationships, universal man and universal woman, in tune with the universe. That's something we don't have anywhere. We got a bunch of rotten people on this planet. We've all been made rotten. We're terrible people. We are terrible creatures. We are a disgrace to our Creator, all of us. And this needs to be corrected. And hopefully through codification, counter-racist codification to start with, since that's the biggest force among people on the planet. Get rid of racism, and then get rid of all of injustices and all of incorrectness. This should be the goal of a universal man and a universal woman, which is what we all supposed to be, should be, headed toward becoming. And I say a lot about this in the book. The establishment of a universal man with and for universal woman in a universe that is operated the way that it should have been in the first place.
In the first place, wow.
Before racism.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Mr. Fuller. I'm pretty sure there are others that are too.
Thank you.
But thank you for doing that. Thank you, callers. And next week is our last live show of 2017, so make sure you tune in.